Hey guys, so I've been getting a lot of questions from guys that have been checking out my video of how do I adjust elemental hit to 3.5. There's some changes, but mechanically the build still functions the same, so it's not going to be an overly complex video, and I'm going to keep it a lot more condensed because a lot of the meat of the content is still the same. So one of the big changes was before even 3.5, the conversion mechanic was nerfed to adjust the skill to line up so it doesn't completely decimate all the other skills in comparison. So if you convert all of your damage to fire, now you do 30% less damage, but the skill is doing crazy DPS before, so it's still doing respectable DPS now. We're still doing our avatar fire stuff to convert the fire and the cold, and we're still using our pyre. What I recommend is that now you use an opal ring, and what you can do with an opal ring is you can craft them with essences of anger on jewelry, and that gives you the guaranteed fire roll. And then what you're looking for is a good life roll, and then you can either craft the wed, or if you roll the wed on top of the fire damage, right, then you can craft something else. A ring like this will cost you a bit of essences to get to the rolls that you really want to get, but it's worth it in the end. It ends up being about as much damage as a pyre. The reason why I use pyre is because it has the conversion, obviously good resists, and the ignited enemies you hit are destroyed, which is incredibly useful when you're fighting spikers and other mob types that detonate corpses. This just completely nullifies that. So it's basically like having a freeze where you shatter stuff. The other change, which is the one that came in this league, is unfortunately they killed Chin's Soul. It used to do 100% more damage at close range. Now it does 50% more, so this bow is officially dead in the water, in my opinion. If you wanted a very budget option, you could still use this bow, but I do not recommend it. It's not optimal. Now we don't even weapon swap. What we do is we craft a bow like this. But I'll get to this last because it's the most complicated thing to make. You can still do the +3 bow. That wasn't changed at all. You still use this on the porcupine, and then if you have an open suffix and an open prefix, you can do the thing that I discussed in the video I made before. The helmet. So now we can, we have the budget option where we just use good old Sarkanjas. It gives you attack speed and max life. What I decided to do is now we have delve crafting, and delve crafting has some powerful options. So we can just use a rare and get obviously the enchant with elemental hit attack speed, and we use 2 fossils. The first fossil is pristine fossil, and the second fossil is our buddy the scorched fossil. So what this does is when you put them in a resonator and use them on the helm, you get a life roll or more life modifiers, and you get more fire modifiers. And what this means, the scorched fossil, right, is it allows you to get the nearby enemies have -9 fire resist. It's called Of the Underground. It's a suffix mod. And basically what you're looking for on a helmet is just a high life roll. Now with Betrayal League we can craft a prefix hybrid life mod, so that makes crafting helms a lot easier. You can get one even better than this because there's a pristine mod that gives you like 2 to 3% increased maximum life, so you can get even better than this helmet, but this is serviceable enough. These are kind of the rolls that you're looking for, and it should not be that difficult to roll. Now I definitely recommend using a Yoke of Suffering. You can still use Zoph's Blood and then drop this, but it's just really efficient to just take this and then use this for the extra damage. This helps shore up the damage that it lost. And the other change that I recommend at the end game is now definitely use Pathfinder and use this to give you 2 additional projectiles as well as an additional projectile quiver. And now we don't need to use greater multiple projectiles. We can just use fire penetration at all times. So it ends up being elemental hit, fire pen, combustion, mirage archer, elemental damage, and damage on full life. And we do not weapon swap, so we use this bow at all times. And so how do you craft this bow? So you notice that it has the +3 on it, like we like to have on our multi-target bow. But now we have some extra damage so that we can make up for the loss of Chinsel. So we can make it also have socketed skills deal 20% more attack damage with fossil crafting. So the fossils that we use, the first one is the Serrated Fossil. The Serrated Fossil is how you get the socketed skills deal 20% more attack damage. You cannot get it any other way, really. You use the Serrated Fossil, it's not very expensive. Then we use the other two in combination is a corroded fossil. This is to block the elemental modifiers that bows can get. And then the last one is a metallic fossil. Sorry, I have to wiki them. I don't have the fossils on hand right now. I'm just trying to make the video quickly. So this is the most cost-effective way to craft them. It blocks all physical modifiers and all elemental modifiers. So all it's going to get is either the serrated, and sometimes it gives you prefixes. So if you end up getting a poison or bleed prefix, you will have to annul it. But basically, the base of the bow that you're looking for, after I close these, is you're looking to roll the serrated mod. The socketed skills deal 20% more attack damage and +2 to level of bow gems, right? Now, if you use your resonators and you get that combination, then the next thing that you're looking for, just like before, an open prefix, right? And then open suffix. And the reason why you want that combination of things on the bow is because we can still do the old trick where we craft cannot roll attack mods, right, for the 1 exalt, and then we use an exalt on the item to guarantee the paragons mod, right? So the reason why you're seeing all these squigglies is it's an elder bow, and what I was attempting to craft was an elder bow item level 82, because at 82 it has a chance to give you an extra arrow as a suffix, so it doesn't get in the way of the prefixes that give you a ton of damage. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to complete the bow that way, but it's still so powerful with this combination of mods. And I got lucky enough that I got the attack speed that I could craft another suffix of damage, and I crafted the double damage mod. There's a couple other ones. There's increased attack speed when near a unique enemy, and double damage while focused. Those are all very strong options. I elected just for the flat double damage for whatever. It's pretty much equivalent in all situations. One of them is more on-demand damage, and this one is, you know, left more up to chance because it's a lower multiplier. You can, if you have 4 socket resonators, this one is not as cost effective because it can take a while to get the serrated mod together with the +2 to level of bow gems, but along with the other 3, so remember, I repeat again, the serrated, corroded, and metallic block all physical and all elemental modifiers. The corroded one will give you poison or bleeding modifiers, but if you have a 4 socket resonator, you can use a prismatic fossil, and that also blocks the poison and bleeding modifiers. However, the cost will jump from your 3 socket resonators, which are 1 to 2 chaos, to a 4 socket resonator, which are 16 up to 18 chaos. So it ends up more than doubling the cost of the craft. So it's more cost effective to just use the 3, unless you're made of money and you would just want to see the rolls faster. You can use your 4 socket resonators and try to craft it. The last tip that I have is do not get one that is item level 83. Very quickly, I will show you why you do not want that. So if you go to bows and you go to chaos damage, at item level 83, chaos damage shows up, and chaos damage is not a physical or an elemental modifier, so the fossils do not block this craft. So it makes it much more difficult to craft the bow if you have an item level 83 one. However, if you have an item level 82 Elder one, right, then you can have a chance of adding the additional arrow. And then of course you have to 6 socket and 6 link it. Remember, in order to get the +2 to level of bow gems, right, if you're not doing the cheap crafting method, I highly recommend that you use a bow that can actually roll it. So it needs to be item level 64 minimum to roll the sharpshooters mod, which is the +2 to level the socketed bow gems. So I know that's a lot of information to process to get to this, but yeah, basically the bow needs to be a minimum item level 64 below item level 83, and then you optionally you can use an elder base to try to get the additional arrow. I do not recommend using a shaper bow. A shaper bow will look something like this, right? The one with the stars. Do not use this, because if you use the cannot roll attack mods trick, you can exalt things that are other than the Paragons mod. The Paragons mod is the +1 to all gems, right? Shaper bases, even though you block cannot roll attack mods, there are mods that are prefixes that are not attack mods on shaper bases. I said this in the video before, but it bears repeating because I don't want you wasting all your money thinking you're going to guarantee the +1, and you slam it and you see something else and you get really mad. Okay, so that's basically the gist of the build. You don't have to have 2 socket Tomb Fists and 2 socket Bubonic Trails. For the longest time, I didn't even use Bubonic Trails at all. I just used something to shore up my resist with move speed and max life. And I used 1 socket Tomb Fist until I could afford a 2 socket Tomb Fist. The most important thing for Tomb Fist is to have a murderous eye jewel so that you can intimidate, which makes you deal the 10% more damage, and then to have max life roll and attack speed roll on each jewel. The flat damage mod is a very small portion of the damage that will be added to the skill, because the skill already does thousands of elemental damage. So the best thing that jewels can roll are max life, attack speed, and increased shock effect. Because this build shocks, if you have increased shock effect on jewels, it'll make the effect of shock more effective, so therefore you will do more damage. The last piece of the thing is this is basically the same tree. The only reason I have these move speed is because I was doing some shenanigans with the syndicate. And yeah, happy crafting.